Uber results just out, profits rising from $2.6 billion a year ago to $6.6 billion. But that included a $4.9 billion benefit from a tax valuation release. Now, revenue of $13.5 billion, beating estimates of $13.3 billion. Revenue from the mobility and delivery business, each beating estimates, and gross bookings coming in higher than expected. Trips also increased 22% over the prior year to $3.5 billion. And that was with a 17% increase in monthly active platform customers. Joining us right now, first on CNBC, is Uber CEO Dara Khosrowshahi, and we're thrilled to have him on the broadcast this morning. The earnings look good. I should tell you, the stock is down this morning. I can't tell if that's a function of the earnings so much as it's just a function of where the markets seem to be. Let's talk about, though, this last quarter, and maybe talk a little bit about what you think the future portends in terms of the business, and maybe then we can get into the stock itself. But what was driving this for the most part, and is there anything in here that we should be reading specifically?
Well, I think what drove it is strength across all sectors. Our mobility business accelerated versus last quarter in terms of top line growth. Our delivery business accelerated as well. Trips, 3.5 billion trips this quarter, up 22%, big acceleration versus the last quarter. Gross bookings now just south of 50 billion a quarter and up 21%. And then, of course, delivering on profitability as well. Our EBITDA up 33% on a year-on-year basis. So we're seeing a business that continues to be strong. It's actually accelerating in terms of momentum, and we're able to scale profits while we do so. So, Andrew, at this point, we see blue skies. Obviously, we are watching out in terms of the economies, the global economies. But at this point, the business continues to hit on all cylinders.
Right. How much of this, though, is a function effectively of taking share either from your competitors, taxis, limousines, other food delivery services, when we talk about that business, versus the pie just getting larger?
I think it's a bit of both. We're very lucky to be operating in the transportation services ecosystem that is over $1 trillion. The online food delivery or food ecosystem that's over $2 trillion. And now we're extending into grocery and retail. We were at a $12 billion run rate as it relates to grocery and retail. And what we're seeing is people want on-demand transportation regardless of where they want. They want to push a button and get to a place. But sometimes when they want to stay home, they want to be able to push a button and get their groceries and have someone else maybe do their Thanksgiving shopping for them. So I do think it's a combination of both. We are unique and different from all the other players in that not only are we global in scope, but we also operate a mobility marketplace and a delivery marketplace that talk to each other. We share customers. We share merchants, for example, on the ad front. It's a platform that no one else can match. And as a result, while the category is super healthy, we're also generally gaining category position and growing faster than the overall category.
To the extent that you have a real sense of what's going on with the consumer, what are you seeing? I mean, we keep hearing about this sort of tale of two cities. The high end is almost, price agnostic across the board. They'll buy anything. If the price that comes up on Uber is high, they'll say, I'll take it. But then there's a whole other community that is becoming severely price constrained. Are you seeing that?
We're not seeing that at this point, Andrew. When we look at our results in terms of the high-end consumer or the more budget consumer, they both continue to grow. We're actually now penetrating increasingly outside of the large cities, and our growth rates outside of the large cities and some of the sparser geographics that we're going after are 1.5 to 3 times faster growth than in the big cities. So we're not seeing consumer trends one way or the other change. They continue to be strong. Again, it could be the category, but we don't see people trading down. We don't see them reducing their basket size, let's say, on their groceries. At this point, the consumer to Uber looks very, very strong across the board.
Right. I know you've been quite excited about the potential for AI and what it can do for the business across the board. I've always wondered whether it poses a threat longer term. And the threat would be that I would go on ChatGPT or one of these other large language models or other services and say, find me a vehicle to take me to X. and that they, meaning the model, would then go compare prices at Uber and maybe Lyft and maybe something else, and they would just pick, you know how I used to joke with you that I would be arbitraging your price versus the taxi cab at any one moment, but that the AI would do that for me. How do you think about that?
I think anytime you've got a platform shift like AI, it is both a threat and an opportunity. It's a threat to the companies who don't adjust. It's an opportunity for companies who do adjust and embrace AI. And we are doing that. One is those same chat agents that you can find on ChatGPT, et cetera, you're going to also be able to find on Uber. And we will have a lot of information about your habits. When you wake up, Andrew, it might say, Andrew, do you want to go to work same time, right? And you'll be able to interact with Uber in a natural language way with all of the context that we have with your loyalty, et cetera. That said, we are also working with OpenAI and ChatGPT so that you can reach Uber any way you want to, whether it's through a ChatGPT agent who's working with our agents, or you want to come direct, we're going to be there for you. And what we do have is unique inventory, over 9 million drivers and couriers on a global basis, well over 1.2 million merchants as well. There is no other company that has our global footprint or the breadth and depth of services that we have. And I do see us working with the various agents outside of the Uber ecosystem. Right. But then at the same time, we're building out agents to make your experience on Uber delightful. Get me some sushi tonight from my regular place, for example.